Hey there, Jenna here. Welcome to my channel where I take you on tours of tiny and unique homes. In today's video, we're gonna meet a young couple that transformed a box truck into a gorgeous tiny home. I think you're gonna be really surprised when you step inside to see how spacious a box truck can really be. And they've come up with a lot of clever ways to expand the space, including a multi-purpose room that includes their bedroom, living room, office, and a bedroom for their cat. If you like these kind of videos, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know every single time I publish a new video. But right now, let's step inside this box truck that's turned into a beautiful tiny home.
Will you join me? Will you roll? Make this house our tiny home.
Hi, I'm Courtney,
And I'm Sawyer.
and this is our box truck, Elsie.
So the experience that got me familiar with tiny living was my sophomore year of college. My room was like an 8x8 and I spent a year in that room. If I could do it with the same view every day, then I could make it work on the road.
Van life was really taking off at that time. The opportunity to travel was what got me excited about tiny living.
I was running a 5K and had a heart attack. Two firemen happened to be running behind me and were able to give me CPR and save my life.
I got the phone call from his brother saying that everything's fine, but Sawyer had a heart attack and died for 15 minutes.
It really just drove home like the fragility of life and like the importance of time. So we really like committed to, we want to live on the road and like see as much as we can. So that was a real catalyst for our decision to find the truck and get started. There's all styles of things that we could actually like be in.
Looked at party buses, regular buses, everything.
Once we had chosen a box truck, we were basically just doing the waiting game on Craigslist, checking every day, a couple times a day. And eventually this one popped up locally. It was only 10 miles from us and it was for $3,500. So a very affordable deal.
We were balling on a budget, so we needed to find the cheapest vehicle possible. That was in good shape and we found her.
When it comes to the time of a build, I feel like there's two ways you can do it. You can do it slow and cheap or fast and expensive. And we did the slow and cheap model where we were just waiting for materials to come along. We were in a really fortunate position where I was already working as a carpenter and my sort of style was with reclaimed wood material. So I had a place to store things.
He actually took the reins for most of the building, which is really incredible, but he's also a carpenter, so I don't think my craftsmanship would have been as comparable.
So the truck was $3,500 and then the total cost of the build would be $9,000, $10,000?
Between $12,000 and $14,000 total. Welcome to the outside of Elfie. She is a 2003 Isuzu NPR. She's about 8 feet wide and 23 feet long, bumper to bumper. So I painted the mural on the side. I was super excited to have such a big canvas to work with. Sort of my thought process for why I chose her was I wanted to give our truck a face. So I like to say this is Elfie. Also, I just wanted it to be unique and stand out because she really does stand out. So I had to add to that. Right here is our inlet valve to our water tank. We have a 45-gallon tank. It lasts us about a week if we're showering. We think it's sort of the perfect size for us because it does fit inside. So when we are in the colder months, it doesn't freeze.
So for our truck, we have a 4.8 liter turbo diesel engine. And that was something that was really reassuring to us when we purchased the vehicle, was that even though it has 247,000 miles at the time, 90% of these vehicles were functioning normally at 310,000 miles. So it still has a big chunk of lifespan for us to enjoy with it. We tend to not do the math on MPG just because it's rather painful. We can achieve 10 if we're driving really careful. Here we are on the passenger side of the truck. One of the first things you're going to notice from the outside is just how tall the windows are. So I'm here at 6'2", so it's just really nice when we are in like a parking lot and have to be there for the day. You can have your curtains open and not feel like everyone's just looking in at you. Also on this side of the truck we have 2 propane boxes, and we can hold 4 standard 5-pound barbecue tanks. That's 2 up here and then 2 at the back. This box runs our oven and holds a spare tank. The 2 at the back run our water heater and our traditional heater. Through the winter, we did about 1 tank a month. All right, so here we are at the back of the house. And as you can tell, one of the things that was really important to us was making it feel homey. Even though we are living in a vehicle, we kind of wanted that sort of cute front door appeal that you can get from a traditional house. So some of the features we wanted to include on the back were the symmetrical porch lights. To me, it just sort of reminds me of a caboose. When you're coming up to a campsite in the dark and you have the porch lights on, it's a really cute feeling to it. So here we have the tool shed, and it is sort of a mix of both the tools that I thought we would need in case anything did go wrong, but also this is just my passion. A lot of this stuff is just what I thought would be fun to use on the road. And then here we have a Furrion instant hot water heater. And this unit is really nice for us because it has a digital thermostat that you can set a temperature on inside. So there's no fiddling with the taps. You just set your digit and then crank the hot water on full blast. For me, that's a comfortable temperature, and for Courtney, it's scalding. One of the things to be aware of if you're buying one of these trucks is that the roof is a very thin fiberglass layer that really can't support any weight. It's only there to keep the rain out. So we actually put down a 1/2-inch layer of plywood over that fiberglass layer and attached it to the rafters we had put beneath that, and then sheeted the whole thing with reclaimed corrugated tin. So we actually have a really robust roof layer that you can walk around, climb around on if you need to do anything to the solar panels. On our roof we have 885 watts of solar. And that runs down into a 330 amp hour lithium ion battery that is 24 volts that we had reclaimed from a BMW.
One cool feature about Elfie is that she did come with a lift gate. It's been super fun to have it just as an extra step to get in because she's a little bit higher up. So let's head up and I will show you the inside. We were really drawn to sort of an open floor plan, which is why we have both windows sort of mirroring each other. We wanted to feel like we had a lot of room for activities and to just kind of hang out without feeling so squished. For our heater, we have the Wave 8 catalytic safety heater. It's made for a space 3 times the size, so it heats up really quickly in here. Our cat especially loves it during the winter time. She always just kind of posts up right in front of it, lounges, and gets warm. So when you walk into the house, immediately to your left is our bathroom. I'm in love with our bathroom door. The wood is from an old barn that was built in the 1800s about. It was one of my old coworkers' barns that they were tearing down, and they just let us take whatever we needed. We found the handle at an old antique junkyard of sorts. The door is bifolding, accordion style, so it folds out of the way.
The bathroom is right next to the front door of the truck, and that was a very intentional decision. Anyone who has a composting toilet will know the reasoning behind that decision. Really, you just want as short a pathway there as possible. So if you step into the space, we built a custom shower pan, and one of the things that we did that for was so that we could have a much more dramatic angle in that drainage pan than normal showers do, so that even on varied slopes we can still keep all the water going where we want it to. So Courtney wanted to add a little texture to the shower pan by painting white stars on there. I thought it would be really cool if we used actual wooden stars, because then they would actually give us some texture to the pan and give some grip so that you don't slide around too much.
So one of my favorite parts about the house is the fact that I get a full-length mirror. And the cool part about it is that it actually opens up a little bit. Inside of it is the medicine cabinet. It keeps all of the items that we would normally have in a bathroom. So over here we have sort of our breakfast bar. That was actually just a recent contribution and we are absolutely in love with it. I don't know how we lived without it. It's pretty cool because the stools fold up, get tucked under there, and then the bar closes over them. So that gives us extra space in here, and also it's just more secure while we travel. We use this bar for eating. This is mostly where I set up my laptop, and so I'm able to work from home and usually with a beautiful view. So that's been wonderful. So just across the hall, we have our kitchen. One of my favorite things about the kitchen is our spice rack. The wood that's used inside of the spice rack to hold all of the containers is the original flooring of Elfie. All of this yellow wood that you see in our house is actually from Sawyer's grandma's house when she tore it down. So that's been really fun to be able to get to use that and have her sort of a part of our home. We have our water tank that is down here. It is a 45-gallon tank. The depth of our counter was determined by the width of our water tank. So when we put in our stove, we had this extra section in the back that we had nothing to use it for. We weren't going to use it while we were cooking. So we decided to use it as our trash can. So just the lid lifts up and we're able just to keep a couple bags in there. It's been really nice to just get it out of the way. So I made these tiles for our backsplash. I got this idea off of Pinterest. So how I did it was I took some clay, I rolled flowers into it to create sort of a mold, and then poured the plaster on top of that to create these tiles. We wanted a stove oven combo. We chose this one sort of arbitrarily. Our friend had got it as well. He liked it. It was well priced. I do like having the 3 burners. The oven is nice. It's a little funky sometimes, but we've figured it out.
So here we are in the living room, and well, actually it's the most amount of rooms in our whole house because this is our living room, our closet, our office, and our bedroom all rolled into one. And then in the back is our cat's room. If for whatever reason we need her contained, we can lock her in this little cage. There's plenty of space for food and water if she needs to be in there. The other thing that this does is it pops out all the way, and then we have her litter box down here, so when we need to clean it, it gives us full access to take that in and out. So this was a afterthought addition, but we had this countertop that wasn't being used for a whole lot. I made it so that you can remove the top. You take these 2 hooks and they simply hook onto the side, and this is nice because you can adjust it wherever you need it to go. Then we have a simple leg that stores in our closet. Set that on. Get the leg situated, and then you have a nice desk that you can work at. Also here in our study, we have this beautiful like platter tray that we got from one of our favorite stores where we converted the truck. And we got it, it was just like incredibly corroded and you didn't get a sense of all the detail that was on it. And we brought it home and cleaned it up. So down here we have our fridge, and we just put it on a simple box with felt pads instead of doing any sort of expensive slider. And it just pulls out just like that. And it's nice being on the pads because you have total mobility, and we actually use it as a coffee table and sort of lots of orientations in this space. Hidden under the couch we have basically all of our clothing storage. We each have 2 really large drawers that you can fit a lot of clothing in. In the backrest we have little compartments for like socks and underwear, that sort of thing. So in the corner where we obviously couldn't get drawer access, we decided to put our batteries. You can take up the cushion and then you have a hatch where you can easily access our batteries and inverter. So here we have our bed hoist system. It comes with a hand crank, but we didn't really have the patience for that. So we put it in a drill, and then you just real simply hook it right there and then squeeze the trigger and it'll come on down. One of the nice things about using the drill is there's no safe speed regulation, so you can really just send it up or down as fast as you want to. The only downside is that it has developed a bit of a squeak. So here in the bedroom of the house, we still have access to our bookshelf, which is something we really appreciate. It's easy to get either in couch or in bed. We have a separate light that works on the back wall on a dimmer, so you can have a nice mellow lighting if you need to. We went for a queen size bed just because we knew we wanted to be able to have a little bit of distance from each other when we're sleeping somewhere really hot. It was really helpful for us to have the desire and the motivation to begin the life, but not a lease ending or a time frame where we had to be done and we had to start and finish by a certain time frame. We were able to wait for materials for the right price and things like that.
Being able to downsize into a smaller space has really been empowering, I think you could say. You don't actually need as much as you think you do. You just enjoy the things that you do have more. Living this sort of nomadic lifestyle, there are so many different ways to do it. We happen to have found the specific way that has worked really well for us, but I've met so many people who do it differently, and everyone really just thrives in what works best for them.
Thanks for watching this week's video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you soon with another tiny or unique home tour.